It's a beautiful morning, isn't it? Good morning from Nebraska. Oh. Well, I'm sorry I made you cry, but hopefully it was a good cry. Good morning, Purple Chevy. Good morning. Good morning, Emily. I know. Music's going down. Here we go. All right. Well, I'm excited to share with you guys a little bit more about this amazing new oil that doTERRA has officially now launched. Hello, everyone, and good morning. If you didn't catch my call yesterday, I did a scope on spikenard. Spikenard is another one of the new oils that doTERRA just launched. It'll be available on October 3rd. And this morning we kind of did some studying and some research on Petitgrain, and we're excited to share some of the things that we've learned about this awesome oil with all of you guys. And so those who are new to my Periscopes, my name is Jackie Ritz. I am Blue Diamond in doTERRA, and I'm founder of the Paleo Mama blog. I've been doing doTERRA for almost 3 years now in November. And I'll let my husband introduce himself to you and give you his amazing credentials.
I don't know about amazing. I have some, but they're definitely, I don't know if they're amazing. So I am, well, I mean, I guess I'll just give you a story really quick about what I have come from. I actually served in the military, and then I was able to get my physician assistant degree. And so I was a practicing physician assistant. And then the funny thing is that we came to the point where I was teaching, and, you know, we had the discussion, you know, like when you make enough to sort of replace my income, by all means, I come back and work full time with you. And so I've had that opportunity now for, like, since last year, February, right? So
I'm not going to, okay, so he's making it sound all nice and pretty, but let me just tell you guys, he dragged his knuckles for a long time.
True story.
Long time. He didn't want to, you know, it's hard for a man. I can't imagine. I'm sure he's got his own opinions.
And it has nothing to necessarily do with man or woman necessarily. It's just, you know, when you have a profession, and you enjoy what you do, then it's always tough to walk away. But, you know, it's easier to walk away when you've got somebody like this to come home to. And it was an opportunity for me to be able to be with her and be with the kids full time. And so, I mean, would I not be a moron for not saying yes? So I, you know, after much dragging of my knuckles, I finally said, you know what, it's time for me to go ahead and come on home and do things full time with her, and we've actually not looked back since. So it's been really great. So let's talk about Petitgrain, right? Do we have my notes or any notes up here really quick?
I do.
All right.
So I was going to kind of go first. And,
oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, my husband is a physician assistant, so he has that really good background where he can really dive in and tell you guys more about the therapeutic benefits and the science behind the different essential oils. So I'm going to let him do that, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Petitgrain before I hand it over to him. This actually comes from the citrus aurantium plant, which is the bitter orange plant. And I actually have a picture for you guys so you can see actually where that comes from. Let me click this around. All right, so this is the bitter orange plant. And actually from this plant, you can get 3 different kinds of essential oils. You can get the bitter orange oil, which comes from the rind of the bitter orange. You can get neroli oil, which smells amazing. It's from the flowering blossoms of the plant. And then the leaves produce the Petitgrain oil. And so from the leaves and actually the twigs, we get Petitgrain oil. And so we're going to specifically talk about Petitgrain oil. I know people love neroli oil. And so, you know, if you have a recipe that calls for neroli oil, the smell isn't going to be the same. Petitgrain smells very different than neroli, and it smells very different than orange, so that is not a substitute. But the therapeutic benefits are very similar for neroli and Petitgrain. So, you know, if I know people have come up with recipes that call for neroli, and now you have a really good substitute for them. All right, so like I said, it comes from the scientific name is the citrus aurantium, and let me pull my notes back up. So you would think that this is, since it's a citrus, it is cold pressed, but like we showed you, it comes from the leaves and the twigs. So this is not a cold pressed essential oil. It's steam distilled. And like I showed you, there's those 3 different essential oils that come from the bitter orange plant. We're going to talk specifically about petitgrain. So get it in your brain when we talk about a bitter orange plant and when we talk about petitgrain, that's the leaves and the twigs that we're specifically talking about. This actually has been used for years in the perfume industry to make body sprays, air fresheners, fragrances, lotions, colognes, all that kind of thing. It has a very fresh, herbaceous smell. It does not smell citrusy. So a lot of people think that this is going to smell like a citrus oil. It does not. It has a hint. I would say a very, very, very mild hint of citrus, but it's more of a very herby, leafy smell, okay? You just have to get the oil to really get the, yes, I could actually agree that it does smell like bell peppers. That is really funny.
Wow.
Smell it. Yes, basil is another similar kind of a smell, and it just smells very...
It's woody. It's very woody.
Yeah.
It's very woody. It's woody with a...
Grassy alfalfa. That's another good description.
That's, those are good. See, I like these.
We like these because we have tons of alfalfa out in our barn that we need to get rid of. Our goats are no longer with us, so... the petitgrain essential oil that we source from, it comes from Paraguay. And this is part of our co-impact sourcing. So doTERRA is able to really help out a very poor, very rural community in Paraguay by sourcing this essential oil from Paraguay. We saw a video that I'm sure doTERRA International is going to put on YouTube. So be looking for that to watch this co-impact sourcing video of petitgrain. Now, it's been used in traditional health practices for many, many, many years, and it's been widely used mostly for cleaning purposes, for fragrance, and for smell. And so, recently, not recently, but emerging scientific evidence, which, my husband's going to talk with you guys about, has now provided support for different uses of this essential oil. So if we dive deeper into it, you're going to see through what we discussed today that the primary benefits of this essential oil is very calming, a very relaxing, that you're going to use it. It kind of fits in the same category component-wise as lavender, ylang ylang, geranium, our serenity, those very calming and relaxing blends and oils that we have, that petitgrain now fits into that. So that is excellent news for the menfolk who think that lavender smell like flowers and they don't want to smell like that. We're actually referring to petitgrain in our house as
Mavender.
Mavender. I always say that wrong. Mavender. It's a man lavender. So it's excellent for, kids who don't like this flowering smell of lavender, men who don't like the flowering smell of lavender. You now have this very masculine, but not, girls, I'm not trying to scare you, but it does smell, kind of masculine, smell of petitgrain. Not only that, but it also is excellent for the cardiovascular system. And as my husband's talking, I'm going to show you guys some slides from leadership. And we will talk about all the 3 usages of this oil. And then, like I've already discussed, it is excellent for to help promote a really good night's sleep. The main components in this are terpene alcohols and lineal acetate, which, it's very different than the oil we talked about yesterday, spikenard, which was for so many different usages. Here with petitgrain, you have really a very small component. It's not vast, it's not large. We're going to show you guys some slides in just a second. So it's a really good for targeted singular use. I am actually calling this the oil of happiness because it's very uplifting as well. I feel like it has a very uplifting scent to it. And, You know, it's excellent for feelings of stress and anxiety. So this is, you know, you can call this your oil of happiness as well. It has a very green citrusy, almost spicy scent to it, which is also very so fresh and so clean. So I'm going to hand it over to my husband, who's going to, and I'm going to pull up the slides that we have for you. And we're going to talk with you guys a little bit about, you know, dive a little bit deeper into the therapeutic benefit of this oil.
So are you going to do that?
Yeah, you're talking.
Okay, I gotcha. Actually, you inspired me to, what's that? Yeah, it's hard to see. Always bear with us while we deal with, you know, some sort of technical difficulty. So.
Oh, it's so blurry. All right, go.
Speaking of suppression, so clean.
Okay, now I guess this is what happens when I put him on the Periscope.
This is the problem. I'm an old DJ, man. I can't. It's in my blood.
All right, next.
Here you go. Listen. This should be like the song that you think about when you actually open up Petitgrain. Suppression, so clean. All right.
I'm gonna put him on because then.
All right. So let's talk Petitgrain. Okay. So.
Can you guys see those slides? Because on my end it's coming up blurry.
Can you focus at all?
No.
Oh, sweet. All right. So I'll read those if you can't see them. There we go. It just focused.
Just did.
All right. So when you look at Petitgrain, of course, you want to look at the also. Wait, they said turn it up.
Please turn it off.
So when you look at Petitgrain, you know, we compared it to lavender. So doTERRA does this really great job of actually showing that they are a science company, and oh, by the way, they also have really great essential oils. That is like how doTERRA is. So it's the heart of a science company. And so, you know, given my background and stuff like that, we get trained how to really, you know, dig into and scrutinize medical research or even just regular scientific research. And so it's really nice to know that they've taken that liberty of actually, you know, sharing with us some of the results. And then also, if you guys may or may not know, they're also getting ready to publish about 2 to 4 research articles in mainstream journals. And so that's pretty exciting. And I mean, like, they are IRB approved. They are placebo controlled. They are double blind, and they are absolutely scrutinized for data points and statistical analysis to make sure that the answers that they're getting are reproducible, if you will. And so, I'm sorry?
When are they coming out?
That's the downside. I think they're supposed to be by the end of the year, but I know that it's very soon. You wouldn't have seen this at convention. They wouldn't have explained all of these this data that they've gathered without it being soon. And so, unfortunately, also, we don't know the journals that they're going to be in. So I'm going to stay hip to it and try to make sure I continue to scour all the different types of scientific journals just to see where they're going to pop up at. But let's go ahead and talk about Petitgrain and lavender. So, you know, we've said that it's very much like lavender, and as you can see, these percentages are awfully similar. And so the two major constituents, besides the terpenes...
Go ahead and screenshot that, guys, if you want to.
Besides the terpenes, you actually have some linalool and linalool acetate. And so, as you can see, those are very comparable to that of lavender. And you can see what it's saying here is it's saying that linalool acetate is an ester, and then anything that usually ends in OL is an alcohol. And so when you look at it, the constituents are awfully similar. Surprisingly, actually, linalool can reach as high as 55% of linalool acetate. And we'll explain here in a little bit, like, exactly what effects to the body that esters and alcohols actually, in fact, have. So I just wanted to start off there. So what's really amazing about Petitgrain is it's actually, I don't want to say concentrated, but since it has fewer compounds, we can appreciate the fact that it will only be able to help out in a way of not having this robust, you know, correspondence to the rest of the body. So with it having 17 total compounds, we're going to be looking for a little bit more specific therapeutic benefit rather than the lavender, which actually has more total compounds, thereby having more effect, if you will, overall on the body. Petitgrain is recommended by doTERRA for all 3 types of standard usage. It is actually recommended for internal use, and actually I placed a drop on my tongue, and what's really interesting is that since it has the linalool and linalool, it actually had like this lavendery finish. So it had the really sweet notes, if you will. It had those woody notes, and then it had like this lavendery finish. So it was actually really awesome. These are the things that it can actually help you out with. I'm not going to read those to you and, actually put down anybody's intelligence whatsoever to read that on their own. But as you can see, it's very, very good at being able to really create this, if you have a hyper excitability with the nervous system and stuff like that, it's very good for it being calming, and so you can consider using it at night. You can consider using it in the morning, even throughout the day. It's really, really great for helping relax people. So one of the biggest things that it can do, like I just spoke about, a couple of seconds ago, was talking about this thing called neuronal excitability. And so, this is your standard nerve cell, and these are really all of the reception areas known as the dendrites. And then this is actually the body of the cell, if you will. And then this big long thing right here is actually called an axon. And if you think about it, you look at these as a chain, you'll actually see another dendrite right here. And then you'll see another, piece of the rest of the axon, if you will. And then it'll touch something else, it'll go to another nerve cell and actually contact those as well. Long story short, it creates these networks and these series of nerves by these nerve bodies. And, really what we're looking at as particular is Petitgrain and its ability to help sort of maintain the proper usage of things called neurotransmitters. And so these neurotransmitters are bridging the gap. So unlike a power cord, we can't have nerves directly touching each other. The way that they're designed is that they actually have some millimeters, even micrometers, very little tiny amounts of space between the contact of these dendritic fibers right here with the axonal fibers of the previous nerve cell. And so something has to bridge that gap, and that's where neurotransmitters come into play. So, some of the neurotransmitters that we understand are like dopamine, GABA, even serotonin. Those are the ones that are a little bit more mainstream that we understand. And there are actually some medications that specifically are designed to keep those particular types of neurotransmitters in, because they're actually utilizing those to affect different types of conditions that people have. And so this is not necessarily that much different. What we're doing is we're talking about neurotransmitters and proper health of them and function. And so, one of these things that we talk about when we talk about this neuronal excitability is that these are regulated by something called sodium-potassium channels. And so whenever there is an excitable charge, if you will, so think of like an electrical burst. It goes through that particular chain in order to fire off those nerves to eventually go on down to the muscles or whatever other systems or organs that they affect. And so it's by regulation of these sodium-potassium channels that's how the electrical system is actually regulated. And so it was seen that linalool actually decreased those action potentials, meaning that it helped maintain proper excitability of those neurons firing off. And so what it does, I am so sorry about this. Let me shut this thing down. Anyway, what is being seen is that this helps with the overall, what we call excitability of the neurons around the entire body. And so it's really, really fantastic that you can actually utilize this oil in particular right there to the affected area that you need. So
who would need this?
So if you have somebody who, has what's some of the things? So, somebody who has some occasional discomfort, if you will, from exercise or something like that, you can go ahead and dilute and then topically apply Petitgrain to those particular muscle groups and stuff like that. And it will help relax those nerves and help them recover to where they are to get back to normal is really the biggest thing. So moving on with this other additional benefit of Petitgrain, this is called the HPA axis, which stands for the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the adrenal glands. And so this entire thing is going on to regulate these various hormones that really all playing consideration of one another. So the sympathetic chain is one of the areas that we don't even control, right? It is actually a subdivision of the autonomic nervous system, which autonomic, because of the word, you should be thinking automatic. These are the things that we don't have to control, such as breathing, heart rate, honestly, even sweating, if you think about it. We don't have to control these things because, honestly, most of us wouldn't make it past our first breath of life as a baby if we did not have our sympathetic nervous system to actually, our autonomic nervous system to control these functions. Trust me, it's a very good thing. And so this is just a way of that system working, and we want to make sure that it's working optimally, and that's how Petitgrain can help. It even helps with the correct amount of cortisol. There are certain conditions that are related to having too little of cortisol in the body, and then there's also conditions that are related to having too much cortisol. So we want to have a nice even keel of cortisol. Cortisol is one of those things that has also been scientifically related to causing folks to have this excessive fatigue. And so, we want to make sure that we address the HPA axis and make sure that we keep that running optimally for overall really great health. It's also been shown the linalool. If you actually check out the doTERRA Science blog, I believe it's a .com, they will actually discuss linalool, Linalool, and it'll discuss its ability to actually relax blood vessels, which is pretty amazing because we want to maintain blood pressures in the normal range. And so this may actually be beneficial to be able to actually did they change it to this? They changed it to doTERRA Science. Thank you, because it is the blog. So if you just probably Google doTERRA Science, you'll be there, or check out doTERRAScience.com. Thank you so much for that. But anyway, excuse me. These are the 3 different layers of the blood vessel, and really what we're looking at in particular is what was called this tunica media. Tunica media is where that is where what we call smooth muscle is. Smooth muscle is completely automatic. We do not control smooth muscle whatsoever. It's controlled by our autonomic nervous system. When smooth muscle actually relaxes, it makes this a lot more easy to be able to handle the pressures of the blood flowing through it, which is a really good thing. And so linalool in particular is able to help make sure that in fact happens. And so it has really good benefit for all the cells, all the vessels of our body. So this is just what I just described. This is saying you can take a snapshot of 2. You can take a snapshot of that too if you wish. But really what we're looking at is, this is the consideration of internal usage. Make sure that you always don't just necessarily use 2 to 3 drops. We always recommend put a carrier oil in as well, like an olive oil or something like that. That way you can make sure that it, gets exactly where it needs to be. So, all right. So I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think I had a few other notes that I want to share with you guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them up right now, and we will answer those for you. The cost. Good question. Petitgrain essential oil, wholesale, if you're a wholesale member with doTERRA, is $26. Woohoo! It's a great price. And retail, it's $34.66. Okay? And you're going to get the full PV for that.
So linalool is going, I see the question, by the way. So linalool is going to affect smooth muscle kind of all over the body. You know what I mean? So wherever you're looking at that sort of benefit, I can imagine that it would be, you could actually be able to place it into that category as well. And with it being a sun-sensitive oil, so you would think that it's a citrus oil, but they did not make mention, and I say they, I'm talking about doTERRA, did not make mention that it falls into the same category, if you will, as citrus.
Actually, I've looked up in my essential oil my safety book. It is not a photosensitive oil, and it also does not have any contraindications. So.
See, and that's why she does so good at what she does.
Go ahead and throw up any more questions.
Anywhere where you want to consider topical usage for neuronal excitability, you can use it, yes.
Yeah, so absolutely. That was a good question, and I'm glad that my husband had a very compliant answer for you because I wouldn't. Let's talk a little bit about some recipes that you can make using essential oils.
I'll take care of that.
Okay. So, like we said, the properties of Petitgrain are very similar to those of neroli. So the flowering buds and blossoms from the bitter orange plant is going to help relax your body, and it's very, very good for your cardiovascular system, like Frank mentioned. And it also is good for easing those feelings of anxiety, those feelings of stress. And so yesterday we talked a little bit about spikenard, and we included some recipes for you guys that actually include the use of spikenard and Petitgrain together. So let me refresh your memory, and then I'm going to go on to some great diffuser recipes that I've been making with them, and also some pulse points recipes that I've made as well to kind of put on your pulse points to use topically throughout the day. So if you haven't watched my Periscope from yesterday, please go back and do it. But we're talking specifically about helping with persistent muscle tensions that are on your body. And so, as Frank taught, it's great for, those neurons and all that. So it's excellent for releasing those persistent muscle tensions. So a great recipe that I shared yesterday included Petitgrain, spikenard, Roman chamomile, which is available December 1st, and clary sage. The use of those 4 oils together they have different ester components. So the oils, they mutually improve each other's effect on your body. And so the sedative effect of spikenard kind of rounds it all out, rounds out this nice little cocktail. And the use of all 4 of those together are going to be excellent for those very persistent muscle tensions that you have. So if you have it in your neck or your shoulders and you want to do a good shoulder massage, what you're going to do is you're going to do equal parts of each. And depending on where you fall on the dilution chart, if you're an adult, then you still want to dilute it just to make it easy to rub into your neck. If it's for a child, you're going to dilute it much more heavily than that. But dilute it with the fractionated coconut oil or olive oil, jojoba oil, almond oil, whatever kind of carrier oil you like using, dilute it with that. So once again, clary sage, Roman chamomile, Petitgrain, and spikenard. So those 4 together are excellent. They are they're an excellent cocktail that round each other out perfectly. Yes, Alex, I would say absolutely it would be amazing for growing pains. So I would assume yes, they would be excellent. There you go. Thank you so much for putting that up there. That's the recipe right there. And there also, I shared a recipe yesterday that include the same oils for using for extreme feelings of stress. And so I'm talking very extreme feelings of stress that might be brought on by, environmental changes that you're going through your body, grief, maybe you've lost a loved one, those kind of things. So very, very strong feelings of stress that you might have. You can use Roman chamomile, clary sage, Petitgrain, and spikenard again. So all 4 of those, and put them in a roll-on bottle. Top it with carrier oil. So whatever carrier oil you have, and use that on your pulse points. Particularly, I would do temples, wrist, over the solar plexus, back of the neck, behind the ears, on the protruding bone. Those are excellent places to apply essential oils topically if you're specifically looking for helping to ease those feelings of stress, okay? And some other kind of, some fun diffuser recipes. I love diffusing. Does anybody else love diffusing? I absolutely love diffusing. And some of my favorite diffusing blends that I've already made, we're always running a diffuser in our house, no matter what room we're in. Right now I've got one in the kitchen going. I've got one in the living room. I've got one upstairs in my kids' room going because my son wet his bed and it smells like pee in there. So I've got Purify going in there. But here's some fun ones. If you want to, I believe actually it's Balance, but somebody's going to have to really confirm that for me, that Balance has neroli in it. But we definitely do have one blend that has it in it. I should have looked it up before I did this. Those are pulse points. So that is your reflex points, and those are pulse points that are excellent for applying them to, because that's where your pulse is, and it kind of can go into your body and carry oils into your body at a faster pace. So if you want to diffuse to wake up, so a great one in the body to kind of wake your body up, a great diffuser blend is to use Petitgrain, clary sage, and lemongrass. Those three together I have done, and they are so yummy together. I love those. So Petitgrain, clary sage, and lemongrass, just equal parts of them. Another favorite that I've done as well, so lemongrass and Petitgrain I've found really are awesome together. I love those two together. I call this one fresh and so clean. So Petitgrain, you're going to do 2 drops of Petitgrain in your diffuser, 2 drops of cypress, 1 drop of lemongrass, and 1 drop of basil. I love this one. So 2 drops of Petitgrain, 2 drops of cypress, 1 drop of lemongrass, and 1 drop of basil. And if somebody wants to actually type those up in the comments so we can screenshot them really quick, if anyone wants to do that, I would so appreciate it. 2 drops of Petitgrain, 2 drops of cypress, 1 drop of lemongrass, and 1 drop of basil. That is my fresh and so clean blend. There you go. She's threw it up. Everyone take a snapshot. Thank you so much, RPP Essentials. Thank you. All right, the next one, I love this one. This is a soothing diffuser blend. So this is going to actually bring out those relaxing components of the Petitgrain. And when you pair it with these 2 other oils, it smells so delightful at night. I actually diffused this last night because I wanted to make sure it smelled good before I did this Periscope this morning. But this is the soothing and calming blend. So 2 drops of Petitgrain, 2 drops of lavender, and 2 drops of ylang ylang. So if somebody can type those up, that'd be excellent. 2 drops of Petitgrain, 2 drops of lavender, and 2 drops of ylang ylang. And this is a soothing and calming diffuser blend. It's a great one to be used at night. Excellent to be used at night. There you go. Thank you so much. Snapshot, snapshot. Thank you. This is another really fun one that I love. So these are topical uses that you can use, these mixes that you can use in blends for putting on your pulse points. So you want to mix these up in a roll-on bottle or a little dish before you apply them. Add a little bit of a carrier oil. So fractionated coconut oil is my favorite because it has absolutely no smell to it. So it doesn't take away from the oils at all. So this is like a springtime bliss. I love the smell of this. So it's very simple. It's just 2 drops of Petitgrain and 1 drop of geranium. And then, 3 drops of your fractionated coconut oil. So you can apply this. Kind of what I do, guys, is I apply it in my hand. I apply the 2 drops of Petitgrain, the 1 drops of geranium with the 3 drops of fractionated coconut oil, and that's my perfume for the day. So I take it and I just kind of rub it on my pulse points. I always do it over my heart, the back of my neck, kind of go up into my hair a little bit. And then if I have any residue left on my hand, I just kind of wipe it on my wrist and my arms. So that is kind of how I daily apply my perfume, whatever I'm wearing for the day. Absolutely no science to it. So, and no, these are not on a website. Let's see. Another one that I really love for diffusing is to kind of promote and motivate you when you wake up. So, and just to get your mind going. So this is a really good one, just kind of get your mind going. I like Petitgrain. I think I already said this. Petitgrain, cinnamon, and lemon. That's another one that I really love together. So springtime bliss is 2 drops of Petitgrain, 1 drop of geranium, and what you're going to do is you're going to top it with 3 drops of a carrier oil. And that's kind of like a pulse point and perfume one. And then also, like I just said, the one to really kind of, get your mind going is that Petitgrain, clary sage, and lemongrass. That's that one. So these are just some fun ones. I mean, no science to it other than they just pair really well together. Some of them, complement each other. That one that I told you at the beginning with the 4 oils is the one that I got from I think it was this book, Medical Aromatherapy, that they just kind of all balance each other and complement each other out. So that is that really powerful 4 that you want to do. And December 1st, you'll be able to get that Roman chamomile. October 3rd, you'll be able to get your Petitgrain. So the last one was, I believe it was the Petitgrain cinnamon and lemon. That's what so you can either do that as a diffuser or you can do that as a topical perfume. So if you're using it as a perfume, I only recommend you doing 1 drop of each Petitgrain, 1 drop of cinnamon, 1 drop of lemon, and then 3 drops of your carrier oil. If you're diluting at a 50%, which is what I dilute as, do what your body tolerates and what your skin tolerates though. And that's a good, apply it to your pulse points in the morning. So it's a good natural perfume. So that's it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this educational thing of Petitgrain. Feel free to share this with your friends and your followers, your team, whatever you may want, just to educate them more before this comes out on October 3rd, so that everyone knows how to use this amazing essential oil when it comes out. So that's it. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next scope.